Hi guys, Yeiliana is here. I want to talk to you about cardio and how to do cardio for the weight loss. But first I want to touch base a little bit about the mechanics of what is happening and why do we need it. The cardiovascular health is extremely important because this is basically your heart and lung condition that you're training. And if you're not training it, then one of the part of your fitness component is compromised. When I have my clients coming to me, I put them on a cardio protocol, and it doesn't matter whether or not they are fit or need to get the body fat down. They are going to be doing at least minimum of the half an hour of the cardio a day. And the main reason why do we need to do a cardio is because your brain actually relies on oxygenation from that activity. So if you are not doing daily walking, then you're actually depriving your brain from proper oxygenation, and that eventually is going to result in some issues as you get older. However, depending on the amount of body fat a person needs to lose, or the goals, fitness goals, that when they come to my program, we will put them either on a half an hour post-workout or 1 hour cardio. And when the competitors come to me and we need to do big fat reduction or the fat reduction below the essential body fat levels, then we will do things like fasted cardio and a post-dinner cardio. So let me tell you what's happening with the body when you work out. So we have a certain amount of fat cells in our body, and they all evenly distributed around everywhere, like upper body, lower body. And what happens is if the meal plan is inadequate and your body started to accumulate body fat, all of these fat molecules fat cells started to be filled up with the fatty acids. So all of the food that converts into fat is going to be stored into those cells. And once those cells are full, the body will breed another fat cell. And then they started to fill up those fat cells, right? And once those fat cells are full, the body will breed another fat cell. And then when you decided to lose fat, you cannot lose those cells. What you can lose is the content of those fat cells. You can deplete them from the fatty acids and keep them flat. Or otherwise, if you don't do that, they're going to keep breeding around your body. And that's how you become heavier and heavier. So when people go into all of these crash diets, yo-yo diets that really affect your muscle mass, they deplete the muscle component in the body, and therefore muscle has ability to burn fat less and less. And as we know, with age, sarcopenia will start, and if nothing is done to your body, then with the little amount of muscle, the capability of burning fat is even less, and therefore body will simply just start to breed those fat cells all around the body and keep storing the food that you're eating into those fat cells. Everybody will have different neurological passages how that specific person will store the body fat. And what I see from all of the clients over the past years, the way that they get slimmer and they cut into the body fat, right, gives me an understanding a little bit that some people will store their fat inside of the muscle bellies more, right, as fat marbling, and some people will store it in underneath of the skin. And basically, depending on how the body fat have been stored, when they get off the meal plan, they will reach for exactly the foods that were making them fat, and therefore that the passage will be restored, that neural connection will be restored. Oh my God. And so when people are going through my meal plan, they will have a chance to actually not only rewrite the neural passage of the fat storage or storing ability of the body and develop new habits. So the body eventually started to forget the neural passage of the fat storage, and they can rewrite the way the body actually burns the body fat. And it's simply because of the habits that people accumulate. Okay, so now let's get into the cardio. So the cardio can be very many different ways. We do cardio for many different reasons. We do cardio for general fitness. We do cardio for getting your cardio endurance up. And we do cardio for the weight loss. This is something that very familiar to a lot of people. And when somebody is trying to lose body fat, the very first thing that they reach out to is they will start to run. And they will start to do a lot of running and a lot of cardio-oriented classes, like spin classes, like Tabata, and like a lot of high-intensity cardio, and so on and so forth. And I was exactly at the same point when I first started to experience the gain in my body fat. The first thing I started to do, I started to eat less and I started to run more. So I was running 10K a day with my dog. And it helped for a little bit, but then it stopped helping because it simply didn't work. And then I became a personal trainer, and then I learned a few things about the cardio. Right? So in order for us to burn cardio for fat loss, in order for us to burn fat during cardio, we actually need to do it at a specific heart rate, and we need to be in a fat burning heart rate zone. We call it aerobic. And aerobic heart rate zone is anywhere between 60% of your maximum heart rate up to about 70 to 75% of the maximum heart rate. And then when the person is on fit, they own an aerobic threshold when the body is entering into the anaerobic energy zone. And more fit athletes, they're actually can move that a little bit further. How to calculate that is very simple. Like there is a little bit more complicated formula, and there is less complicated formula. But because there is not exact number of where exactly that you're entering into anaerobic component, then I just go by the simple way of doing things. So you take 220 minus your age, and that will give you maximum heart rate. So if you were to do your cardio at that heart rate, then you probably be okay for the first, I don't know, 10, maybe 15 minutes, and after that you'll start to feel nauseous, and then you'll throw up and pass out. Not really, but something similar. Like it will be very, very difficult to do it. You won't be able to sustain that for a long period of time. But what you do with it is, now we have this maximum heart rate number, and now we need to multiply it by 0.6, which is going to give you lowest point, 60%. And then you take the same number and you multiply it, maximum heart rate number, and you multiply it by 0.75. And that will give you the highest margin of that number. And you need to stay within those two numbers. You don't want to go lower, but you definitely don't want to go any higher. When people are asking me like, okay, can I just go for a walk? I go, yes. But first, before you even start doing anything like that, you need to have get yourself a heart rate monitor, right? Anything that can show your heart rate the second you look at it, right? So you don't have to stop. It's most comfortable. You don't have to stop and wait for it to calculate, or run and wait for it to calculate, right? So like you cannot see, and some people wear glasses and you cannot see, and all of this is blurry and like not really nice. But you need to have your heart rate monitor on you. When you're going for a walk, you need to monitor your heart and see if you are walking, and if your heart rate is below 60%, you're doing absolutely nothing. You're just having steps in. But it is not going to contribute into the fat loss. It will be contributing into the general calorie burn throughout the daytime, but it's not going to increase or elevate the rate your body is burning fat. So you will need to stay above 60%. So it would probably need to be a brisk walk or walk up the hill. But majority of people, what they do, they actually start running, and they feel quite comfortable with it, right? So they run and run and run, and they love it, and it's actually definitely very nice activity, because you get, at first, maybe even for the first year, you're definitely going to have this good energy coming to you, right? So running is amazing, especially when you train for it. But if you're doing the running for the fat loss, it's entirely different animal. So you need to definitely watch your heart rate when you go on a run. So now let me explain what happens when you're in aerobic energy zone, when you're burning fat. So your heart rate is steady, right? It beats steady. The blood flow goes around the body nice and steady, right? The blood coming into your lung, grab the molecule of oxygen, go around, grab the molecule of fat, they combust it together, produce energy. Everybody happy, right? Then you decided to run, right? And we are, and our heart and all of our systems in our body, it's like a car. And now you're going into a different gear, right? And you started to rev your engine, right? And your heart started to go much faster, and you're breathing shallower, and now the blood circulation cannot capture all of the molecules, but it goes around the body, and now your body started to receive less and less oxygen, but it's keep contracting and keep contracting very fast, but it doesn't receive any energy or oxygen, and therefore it cannot get your fat into that equation, and the body is going to switch to a different gear. It will start burning your blood sugar, right? So it's going to go into your glycogen stores. And at every given moment in our cells, we only have enough for probably up to about 5 minutes of that energy. And it takes time for your body to regenerate and put the glycogen back into the cell, right? So what happens is now you depleted the glycogen stores. Let's say you run for like 5 minutes, then it's 10 minutes, and now you're starving your cells. There is no more glycogen, and the body is going to switch to burning your muscle for energy. And there is no deviation from that. You cannot outsmart nature, right? That's what's going to be happening. So during the process of burning muscle for energy, there are going to be a few things happening. You're going to be breaking down the muscle tissue, right? So it broke down, the body produced energy. But the broken tissue needs to filter out from the body. It cannot just stay around the cell and just collect in there broken, right? The body will start taking it out. And those proteins are very toxic for our body, and they will start developing kidney failure. So this is the first problem. Second problem, you're no longer burning fat. Third problem, because your heart tissue, cardiac tissue, working so hard, right? The proteins of the heart tissue will start to break down, and your body, providing that it has good immune system, will go and fix it by creating scarring tissue. Scarring tissue on a heart muscle, on a smooth heart cardiac muscle, it's a future heart disease. Hence that sport-specific injury for all of the marathon runners is a heart attack, right? Very often we hear something like this, like, oh my gosh, he was so healthy, or she was so healthy, she was running marathon this, marathon that, did all of these activities, biking and everything else, right? And all of a sudden, oops, died of heart attack, right? Well, that is the side effect of the high intensity cardio. And then we have another issue, so that we did no fat burning, you're creating kidney failure, you are creating scarring on your heart tissue. Another one, when you're anaerobic, you're acidic. When you're acidic, you become host for cancer and fungus. And of course, you know, that is quite dangerous, right? So anyway, so when my clients come to me, and they come to me for the fat loss and the muscle gain purposes, I tell them not to run. I tell them to buy the heart rate monitor and make sure you monitor your heart rate while you're doing your cardio activity and stay within your heart rate, within a fat burning heart rate, because we do not literally want to kill ourselves doing the cardio. We just want to help your body to burn the body fat. So what happens is within a and basically now become a numbers games. If you compare workout versus cardio, right? So when you work out, when you do weightlifting, you're building the muscle. You actually do not really burn that much during that time. And when I look at my heart rate monitor during different workouts, I probably will burn about 150 active calories, 100 maybe 80 active calories when I work my upper body, 1 hour. I probably go about 480 to 500 calories when I do my lower body, 1 hour again, right? And anything in between is going to be for, like, let's say, back and chest. But when we're doing what's happening is, so it's not really much of fat burning in there. But what we're doing is we're actually building the muscle, and the muscle that is active and healthy is going to be utilizing your body fat. So it's kind of, we're going from the back end of it, right? And now when you're doing your cardio, in half an hour only, you're going to burn anywhere between 250 to 280 calories, right? So in 1 hour, you're going to burn 500 calories of cardio. Now you can simply predict and calculate how much fat you should be losing when you are at specific caloric deficit with your meal plan, providing that you're eating sufficient amount of macronutrients in there, adding your cardio in there, and adding your workout in there. You can now actually calculate, because now it become a numbers games, right? And I always tell my clients that like, there's so many different numbers, but more or less it's about 4,000 calories that you need to burn in order to melt 1 pound of body fat. So when is the best time to do cardio? After reading a very cool book called Stubborn Fat, and it kind of makes sense to me, and I have tried it, a few different things out of this book, and it actually does make a lot of sense, and it does work. So the best time for somebody who is not prepping for the competition is to do the cardio right after the training, right after the weightlifting training. And this is the reason why. When you work out, your body started to release body fat, right? So like fatty acids will started to get released from your fat cells. And now they are floating around in there, some of them getting burned, some of them not. After you finish your workout, whatever haven't been utilized, it's actually going to redeposit itself back into the fat cell. With women, we have a phenomenon. Because we're genetically predispositioned to carry our body fat in our legs, to carry the load, then what happens is that all of these fatty acids that are floating around, they're actually going to go down into our legs and thighs and redeposit themselves there as a beautiful storage for the future, right? And very often at the gym, you see that the woman is nice and shredded at the top, but her legs are still soft. And that is exactly the reason why, right? So if you are trying to lose body fat, the best time to do it is right after your workout. So you did your weightlifting, protein shake with water, and then you go on a treadmill or on a bicycle, whatever is your favorite way of doing your cardio, or outside. Make sure you're watching your heart rate. Now, let's say you are planning to compete. Now it's a little bit different thing. So we have two different, I would say, layers of fat in our body. We have essential body fat and we have excess body fat, right? And for essential body fat, let's say for a female, it's anything over 20%. And again, let's say it could be 21, 22, 18, depending what kind of look you want to achieve. And anything above that, this is an excess body fat. So this is the body fat that your body will willingly get rid of. But when you're tapping into your excess body fat, essential body fat, sorry, then you're now up for a little bit different behavior of how your body is going to be releasing it. and it is going to fight you for it. I remember once overhearing the conversation in a bathroom. One of the girls was talking to another girl, how the trainer was putting her on 2 hours of cardio, how brutal it was. She doesn't understand why it is happening, and so on and so forth, right? So, and this is the reason why we do it. Essential body fat is very difficult to lose. And I lose from, let's say, 22% to 18% probably within a couple of weeks of me just simply cutting out the things that I have been not supposed to be eating in my off season and adding half an hour of cardio. Within 2 weeks, I'll be back at 18% of body fat. Simple. But I need to be at about 14% of body fat. It will take me almost 2 months to get there. Right? And for that reason, that's when we need to do our fasted cardio. That's why we need to do our post-dinner cardio. So when I was training with Iris Kyle, that's when I first got the knowledge of all of that, right? And when I started putting my competitors into the same system, that's when I started to have great results with them as well. And I still doing that. So it depends on your goal, right? But let's say you're training for marathon. Then this is, of course, this is a different story. Now you need to hire a coach who are actually going to coach you on all of the running component. And somebody like me, who is training people for the fat loss, is not going to be a good fit for you, simply because you will need to be trained in a very different way, and it's not going to be your fat loss. However, as a cross training for all of this, theoretically you would want to do a slow pace cardio just to establish for your heart rate those boundaries, so your heart understands the lower and a higher aerobic, anaerobic, so energy zones, and so you know exactly how your heart feels and what you need to do if you are recovering from a big run. And when you're done training for the big marathon, again, just you need to let your body recover, you need to let your muscles recover, and this is when you started to do your slow pace cardio. So I hope it makes sense. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate, write me a message. I'll answer it right there. And for more information on my training and on my programs, just click on the link above. You're going to see more information. It will bring you to my a page with all of the links, so you can browse around and have fun with it. Don't forget to subscribe, please, and have a great day and lose some body fat. Okay, bye guys.